It takes a lot to become a manager. To get there, we often work long hours and we constantly do more than is expected from us. There are many unprofessional managers around us, but we don't want to be like them, so we go and get a leadership education. All that because we want to be good at it. And finally, after all this work, we get our first managerial promotion. But then time goes on and nothing else happens. You work at the same position for year after year, sometimes after year. You get the praise, but no one offers you a higher position. You can even get a raise, but no promotion. You are getting anxious because maybe there is something wrong with you. Maybe you already made a mistake somewhere, so this made your career stuck for good. You look at your managers and you think, how did they even get there? Are they gods or cheaters? And what do you do if you're neither of those? Are you doomed to be at the same managerial position till the rest of your life? First of all, you are not alone. Many managers feel the same way. And from my 7 years of managerial experience, that also includes managing managers, I can tell you about 3 mistakes that probably pulls you down. Let's go. Mistake number 1. Your career got stuck because you are too connected to your daily work. Wait, what? Let me explain. You care about your work. I understand. I also do. Many of us do. And of course, we're sensitive to situations where things are not going well. And you're a manager, you have a team, which means that you always feel that there are people who actually require support from you. Because of that, many managers are kind of in a constantly connected state. So they're always checking the emails, checking the messages, answering the messages. They're constantly thinking about work, either explicitly or they have thoughts in the back of their minds, sometimes to an unhealthy extent. Also, because your team feel that you can jump on things hands-on yourself in any moment when they need it, they kind of don't develop a sense of ownership and their own autonomy in their work. There can be exceptions from that, and from my experience, it's when your team is simply already very senior. Now, let's set aside for a moment that this approach may not be very good for you personally, because you will be overworked and in the end, you will not reach a state where you have a strong autonomous team that does not require micromanagement. Set this aside. The biggest issue here is that if you're in this state, it can send signals to your management that you and your team are not in a good state. In many modern companies, a poor work-life balance is actually not a good sign. There was a serious suit about lawyers, and they had a working culture there when if you would leave the office before 9:30 p.m., it was like not acceptable, and they were almost like bragging about overworking that much. But in many modern businesses, when the management is looking at you and you're like so overworked, it creates a feeling of unreliable performance. I don't know how to put this. Like if I will add something else to you, you're about to collapse. So why would I give you a more responsibilities or a promotion? If I'm your manager, it feels like I'm setting you for a failure. Your boss can see that you're not having it together with a small team. And if you cannot manage a small team, maybe it is too early to give you a bigger team, because you can have issues with delegating. Mistake number 2, you avoid politics as something dirty. If you watch my channel for just a little bit more than 2 videos, you will know I never put a negative connotation in the word politics. Here's the thing, the higher you get, the harder it is to get a promotion. There are only as much directors as a company needs, and sometimes we are waiting for a promotion for quite some time. And the higher you get, the more important it is who advocates for you, because usually the competition for a position is high. Working in management is all about stakeholders, alignments, people communication. It is almost impossible to succeed as a manager without having a good contact with people that can potentially help you. Now, here's a moment where for some reason people start imagining something shady, like pulling the threads behind the curtain, talking to the right people at the right time, like all this conspiracy vibe. Absolutely no. No. What people usually call politics in the working setting actually means 2 simple things: knowing your interests and not being afraid to ask for help. Many managers think that asking for help is something that is deeply wrong, like it's a quest that you have to go through alone, and business is just not like that. It does not operate like that. Like, Come on, adult life is not like that. It is okay to ask for help, and if you avoid it, if you avoid defending your interests, it can seriously reduce your chances to get a promotion that you may want, or anything you want to achieve in your career. Mistake number 3 is resistance to change. Here's how it happens. You take charge of something, like a process or a project, you put a lot of effort and energy into it, you make it super nice and optimized, run like a Swiss clock, state of art. But then something changes. Business needs another thing, the process is not needed anymore. One way or another, the process needs to be transformed. But you put so much effort and energy into it, so now you are getting attached to it. I'm saying you, but in reality, I did this mistake myself an embarrassing number of times. So what we often do in a situation like that is we resist to change because it feels like throwing away something that we've created. And it is hard sometimes. There are other reasons why we as managers can resist to change. Some of us are just more comfortable in a status quo, or we can be scared of failing or have like an abstract fear of losing control when things are moving. But managers that cannot productively and calmly tolerate and process the change can be damaging for the business, especially if they are promoted higher. And your management knows that, and they're following this logic. So if they observe that you're very much resistant to change, they will think twice before promoting you. As simple as that. By the way, if you manage a team where there are multiple cultures present, that's wonderful. I recently made a video about how to manage a multicultural team, like a full-blown guide. So check it out if you like. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you there.